Let's go over the adding integer rules. In the poster that you have here, if the signs are the same, you're going to add and keep the sign. For example, -2 plus -5 equals -7. Also, if you have +2 plus +5 equals 7 positive. What happens if the signs are different? In the second square, you have that the sign that is heavier, or the number that has the sign positive is bigger, you're going to subtract and keep the positive sign. For example, -1 plus 8 equals 7. We subtracted and we keep a +7 because 8 is bigger than 1. And in the other example that you have there, 5 plus -2 equals 3. Okay, 5 is a positive number and 5 is bigger than 2, so your answer will be +3. What happens if they're different and the negative sign is heavier? Well, you're going to subtract and keep the negative sign. For example, 1 plus -8 equals -7. You subtract it and you keep the negative sign because 8 is bigger than 1. And in the example, -5 plus 2 equals -3. You subtract it and you keep the negative sign because 5 is bigger than 2. So in other words, if they have the same signs, you add and you keep the sign. And if they have different signs, you subtract and you keep the sign of the biggest number. One way to identify if you're going to add or subtract an integer is by identifying the operation. In this case, it's adding. And the rules of adding says if the two numbers have the same sign, in this case -82 and -89 have negative signs, you're going to add them up and keep the same sign. So your answer is going to be -171. Let's go over example number 2. In this case, we're going to identify if it's adding or subtracting. Well, it is adding. So 52 and 55 have the same sign. So you're going to add them up and keep the sign. Your answer will be 107 positive. This is another example of adding integers. But in this case, you have one positive number and one negative number. So you're going to subtract. 93 minus 40 gives me 53. And it's going to be negative because 93 is bigger than 40. Let's go over one more problem of adding integers. In this case, they have different signs and you're going to subtract. 79 minus 46 gives me 33, but it's going to be positive because 79 is bigger than 46. Subtracting integers, whether you use the common rule of change to add the opposites or the technique KCC, that means keep, change, it will help you do the problems perfectly. The first thing we need to identify is our operation, and we can see that it has a minus sign. So we need to apply KCC. What does KCC mean? Like I told you, keep, change. In this case, we keep -33 the same, we change minus to plus, and we change -68 to +68. And then we apply the adding rule. If it's different signs, you're going to subtract and you keep the sign of the biggest number. So your answer will be +33. We are almost done. In this example of subtracting integers, you're also going to do keep, change. That means 98 stays the same, the minus sign changes to a plus sign, and you do the opposite of negative 43, that is positive 43, and then you apply the rules. If both numbers are positive, you're going to add them up and keep the positive sign. In this case, your answer is positive 141. Well, I think you have the picture. Whenever you have subtracting integers, you apply KCC. And after you apply it, you're going to see if you're going to add, you're going to subtract, you're going to keep the same sign, or if you're going to put the sign of the biggest value. Now it's your turn to practice. You can pause the video so you can solve the following adding and subtracting integers. Did you get them correct? Remember to go over adding and subtracting integer rules because it will be necessary for your next lesson. See you soon.